gentlemen, the national anthem. Please remain standing while the chaplain expresses the college prayer.
O God, who hast taught us by thy holy apostle to hold fast that which is good, we give thee humble thanks for all our benefactors and for the lives and good examples of all who have truly served thee here, beseeching thee to make us worthy to follow in their steps. Keep us under the protection of thy good providence. Bless us as thou alone canst bless. Prosper us as thou alone canst prosper. And guard us as thou alone canst guard. Let not the wicked prevail against our habitation, but let our university stand as a fortress of truth and purity and right. Take from us all that may hinder godly union and concord, that we may all with one mind and one voice glorify thee. Amen.
The choir will sing Gloria in Excelsis Deo. Please be seated.
Gloria
I invite the Vice President to bring the President-elect before the Chancellor. Public Order will read the citation.
Domine Cancellari, praesento vobis Georgium Cooper, candidatum electum in munus praesidis et vice cancellarii collegii regalis. 2 weeks from today, King's Foundation Year students will be reading the story of ancient Rome's paradigmatic leader, the hero Aeneas. According to Virgil, this leader is insignem pietate virum, a man set apart by pietas. Our students will discover that Roman piety was no narrow fidelity to religious rite or scruple, as the English word so often implies. Instead, they will learn that pietas embraced the wide range of duties owed by an individual to the well-being of community in all of its forms, from the intimate circles of family and household to the broader economic, political, and cultural sodalities whose interests collectively tended to the good of all. How fortunate for our Foundation Year students, and for the whole King's community with them, that we shall have in our new president an insignem pietatis verum in modern Canadian guise. Dr. George Cooper has given his entire life and career to the practice of pietas, pledging duty and devotion to community causes not only in Halifax, the city of his birth, but also more widely in Nova Scotia, the Maritime region, and indeed across our nation and beyond its borders. A senior partner and former managing partner of the Atlantic Canadian law firm McInnes Cooper, our President-elect has also been a Member of Parliament and Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice of Canada, as well as a former Honorary Consul for Sweden. It would require a tongue of bronze to rehearse the full record of his public service on dozens of boards and foundations in the educational, civic, commercial, and cultural spheres, but a few items selected for the occasion will demonstrate its range. In the domain of higher learning and research, Dr. Cooper is at present a managing trustee of the $400 million Killam Educational Trusts, as well as a director of the Canadian Merit Scholarship Foundation. In the past, he has served the Canada-USA Fulbright Scholarship Foundation and the Royal Society of Canada. Dr. Cooper has manifested a strong support of youth in the arts by his directorship of the Michael Jean Foundation, for youth in government and public service as a trustee of the Forum for Young Canadians. As a director of the CBC, he's lent his expertise to the interests of journalism and broadcasting. He's labored on various committees and boards for the advancement of medical research and the improvement of medical care, and has been patron and advocate for countless artistic enterprises, particularly those involving music. In recognition of his volunteer service, Dr. Cooper was awarded both the Queen's Golden and Diamond Jubilee Medals. In 2004, the same year that he received the Canadian Forces Decoration for his efforts in behalf of our military, he was made a member of the Order of Canada. More recently, in 2012, His Majesty Carl Gustaf, King of Sweden, promoted Dr. Cooper to the rank of Commander of the Royal Order of the Polar Star. Given his willingness to serve and the proven efficacy of his service, it's no wonder that Dalhousie, Dr. Cooper's alma mater, should have turned to him at several points in the decades since he took his science and law degrees there. In the 1970s, he was our sister institution's Alumni Association president. In the 1980s, chair of its annual fund. And into the 1990s, a member of its board of governors. Neither has University College, Oxford, where Dr. Cooper studied as a Rhodes Scholar and took a Bachelor of Civil Laws, forgotten its alumnus, for he continues to serve as honorary chair of its Canadian Old Members Association. Finally, Dr. Cooper is no stranger to King's herself. Both the son of an alumnus and father of two more, his presidency will cap not only a long family association, but also a history of personal generosity to our college. His mark on the physical fabric of King's, no less than on its scholarly activity, endures today in our library, which he helped to build as national chair of the Rare Find fundraising mission, and in the new academic building, made possible by the capital campaign he led. From 2001 to 2007, Dr. Cooper chaired the King's Board of Governors. 1 year later, when the college bestowed upon him a well-deserved Doctor of Civil Laws honoris causa, she made him thrice Doctissimus, Dalhousie and the University of Alberta having already decorated him with similar degrees. Just as Dr. Cooper's devotion to our college did not begin with his selection as president in July, neither does the long tradition of pietas at King's begin with him. Indeed, from the college's inception, students, professors, administrators, and alumni have looked to the Roman example of Aeneas for guidance in good times and fraught. A cherished sculpture in the quad preserves Aeneas's legacy. It shows the hero leaving his burning city and wife behind. He bears his father, avatar of the past, on his shoulders, and leads his son, sire of his descendants, to the building of a new world. Though Dr. Cooper is blessed to have his wife Tia always with him, he, like Roman Aeneas, understands that the genuine virtue of pietas lies not in the labor of one man alone, but by its power to recreate itself through memory and example in successive generations. Like that of Aeneas, Dr. Cooper's pietas neither fetishizes nor discards the past, but treasures it up as tradition, a faithful companion and guide for the present. Dr. Cooper's leadership, like Aeneas's, will be limited in time, but he knows that the legacy of his pietas, blended with the devotion of King's men and women gone before, will be an inspiration for those to come, a source of confidence, creativity, and resilience for our college in the future. Placet Domino Cancellario et huic dignissimae convocationi ut supplicatio venerabilis congregationis regentium de inauguratione Georgii Cooper, more solito nominati accipiator.
Ad negotia procedam. Legat orator excerptum ectorum congregationis, Regentium quibus convenator electio aedicti veri doximini.
From the minutes of the meeting of the Board of Governors on Monday, the 9th of July, 2012. The following motion was moved by Dale Godso, seconded by Katrina Beach. That the Board of Governors approve the recommendation of the Presidential Search Committee to offer the appointment as President of the University of King's College to Dr. George T.H. Cooper, QC, for a term of 2 years, commencing at a time and on terms to to be negotiated. The motion was carried. Domine Cancellari, praesento tibi Georgium Cooper, baccalaureum stientiae, legum baccalaureum, baccalaureum civilis legis, doctorum legem et doctorum in iure civili honoris causa, quius selectio rite nuperime attestata est, ut admitatur ad munus officiaque praesidis et vice cancellarii collegii regalis.
George Cooper, fidem dabis ad observandum omnia statuta privilegia consuetudines libertatasque huis universitatis quo melius floriant bona doctrina moresque purissimi.
Davo fidem Deo adjuvante. Ego, Georgius Cooper, do fidem quo ea omnia diligenter et fideliter exequar quae ad officium praesidiis et vis cancellarii collegi regalis spectat. Sicut me Deus adjuvat et sancta evangelia.
George Cooper, auctoritate mea et totius universitatis, te admitto in munus praesidis et vice cancellari regalis, omnibus iudibus ornatum et imperio ut statum in celum constituaris in nomine Patris et Filii Spiritus Sancti.
present to the Board of Governors, the faculty, the students, the alumni, the staff, and other friends of the university, our new president, duly installed, and ask for him your loyal support and your cooperation.
On this glorious Thursday afternoon, I ask our Vice President to present greetings to our new President on behalf of the University of King's College.
Mr. Chancellor, fellow colleagues, honored ladies and gentlemen, and Dr. George Cooper, I'm delighted to offer the warm greetings and congratulations to you on behalf of the University of King's College on your installation as President and Vice Chancellor. We welcome you as a member of our grand institution and pledge our support. Deo, Legi, Regi, Gregi.
Dr. John Ham will present greetings on behalf of the Board of Governors.
Friends of Kings, on behalf of the Board of Governors, congratulations to our new President. The Board is delighted with this new appointment and looks forward to working with Dr. Cooper in building a stronger King's. Thanks as well to Mrs. Cooper for sharing George with us. George and Tia, welcome.
Dr. Roberta Barker on behalf of our faculty.
Mr. Chancellor and honored members of Convocation, the faculty of this University of King's College are truly delighted to offer their greetings and congratulations to Dr. George Cooper on the occasion of his installation as President and Vice Chancellor. With deep gratitude for his love of this institution, for his support of our mission of teaching and learning, and for his work on our behalf in the wider community, we wish him a most happy and glorious term in office.
Tara Lee Broom on behalf of the staff, the engine oil that keeps this institution running.
On behalf of the staff of the University of King's College, I would like to congratulate Dr. Cooper on his appointment as President. Any fine vessel needs a skilled captain to help it navigate through the harsh, ever-changing waters of time. Dr. Cooper has already demonstrated that he is a man who knows how to effectively lead a crew toward prosperity. Captain Cooper, we, the staff of the University of King's College, look forward to seeking wider horizons with you.
Mr. Nicholas Stark, President of the King's Student Union.
Mr. Chancellor and honored guests, on behalf of the students of the University of King's College, I bring greetings and felicitations to you, Dr. George Cooper, on the occasion of your installation as President and Vice Chancellor. We pledge our support and goodwill, and may our time together prove auspicious and joyful.
Mr. Greg Guy on behalf of the Alumni Association as its President.
Mr. Chancellor, friends of King's, Dr. Cooper, on behalf of Canada's oldest alumni association, incorporated in 1846, I bring you greetings and well wishes. The goal of the University of King's College Alumni Association is to perpetuate the close and warm ties of friendships formed during our years at King's and to support the college in its mission. Your fellow graduates stand behind you and are here to help you. Congratulations.
We're extremely honored that Dr. Tom Travis could be here today with us, and we are thrilled that he is also prepared to give greetings to our new president.
Mr. Chancellor, honored guests, I'm delighted to bring greetings and congratulations to George Cooper and the University of King's College on this very happy occasion. As you know, the relationship between King's and Dalhousie is long-standing, highly collaborative, and truly profound in its implications for each of our institutions. Our affiliation, one with the other, enables us to share a campus, share services, people, programs, and ideas, and most important of all, it enables us each in our own fashion to pursue our unique identities and goals. In an era of strong competition among universities, our partnership allows us to share our strengths in a manner that brings both of us and the communities we serve greater value than if we stood apart. Partnerships, however, don't automatically work out for the best. Sometimes, as we know, they don't work out at all. So our success over many decades reflects something special: mutual respect, a commitment to collaboration, and a desire for each other's good fortune. It has also required strong institutional leadership that has been determined to make a success of our historic opportunity to partner. Knowing George Cooper as I do, I am confident that his leadership of King's will extend and renew our partnership substantially. George's success in the world of law, corporate affairs, international relations, and politics is fully matched by his lifelong devotion to the purpose and the lived reality of the university, especially the University of King's College in Dalhousie, both of which he knows well and has served with great dedication and purpose. He comes to King's at a special moment in its history with a very unique and highly valuable skill set which will benefit King's and Dalhousie and indeed the entire Nova Scotia university system. You can understand then my pleasure in his appointment and the prospect of working closely with him over the next while. George and King's, congratulations and best wishes for outstanding success.
There was an endeavor to avoid the misunderstanding that all our students spend all their time speaking Latin, and therefore the Forks are now performing "This Must Be the Place" with the refrain, "Home is where I want to be."
Bear with us, thanks. Where I want to be, the earth bends beneath me.
Kings found you, and you found kings. Thank you. Thank you. President George Cooper will address convocation.
Chancellor Meehan, Bishop Moxley, Chairman Ham, President Travis, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your kind words of greeting. As I rise to speak, I recall that lively scene near the beginning of the Iliad. The Greeks are gathered in assembly, debating how to shake Achilles out of his sulk and rejoin the fight. The voices fall silent, and then Thersites gets up to speak. Homer says, "The others sat down and were ranged in their places, while Thersites alone chattered like a jackdaw without restraint of language." I am honored to be president for 2 years. As the lawyers here know, 2 years is a federal offense. But I'm not the first. In 1875, John Dart became president, and as our honorary historian, Dr. Henry Roper, put it, as Dart had read law at Oxford, he had no obvious academic qualifications for the presidency. Well, at least this lawyer is only an interim president. What does interim actually mean? Well, it's U.S. election time again, and 12 years ago, the outcome depended on the Florida ballots, where the machine didn't punch all the way through. At first I thought, well, maybe being interim president will be like being at Hanging Chad. You're not in, but you're not out either. But it hasn't turned out that way at all. I'm deeply grateful to all of you and the whole King's community for the warm embrace that you have given me as interim president, and to my wife Tia. I am Tia's interim husband. You know, some strange things happen when you leave a downtown law practice and move up to the ivory tower. For one, everyone starts calling you doctor. Well, if I'm a doctor, what's my diagnosis? The health of our university is extraordinarily robust. We attract to our campus the brightest and the most talented our country has to offer. Our entering average is 86%, which is as high as it gets anywhere. We have a national, indeed an international reputation for excellence. 64% of our students come from outside Nova Scotia. What are the reasons for this wide renown? First and foremost, it's the quality of our teaching, with small group tutorials and lots of discussion. When we last checked ratemyprofessor.com, we couldn't find a university anywhere in the world that scored a higher satisfaction rating for its professors than King's. Their lives are devoted to stretching the minds of their young students, and our students, when not contemplating Socrates, spread their wings in sports, drama, debating, choral music, and the communist knitting and high tea society. I'm not making that up. Our foundation year program, or FIP as it is known, is the deepest exposure to Western literature, culture, and civilization that you can get in first year. 6 other Canadian universities have since picked up our model, and many hired King's professors to start them off. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Well, if FIP is steeped in traditional culture, our 3 upper year combined honors programs are as modern as tomorrow. The History of Science and Technology program does nothing less than set up the intellectual foundations for today's obsession with progress in all things worldly. The very name of our Contemporary Studies program denotes its relevance for today as students examine the reflections of contemporary writers, thinkers, and artists on the themes and concerns of our own time. Our Early Modern Studies program takes a harder look than FIP can do at the intellectual building blocks of modern society into what ultimately makes us tick here in the 21st century. And our journalism school goes from strength to strength. Just look at the latest programs offered, as are the combined honors programs, in partnership with Dalhousie. A master's degree in journalism with streams in new ventures and investigative journalism, and we're looking forward to a new Master's of Fine Arts in creative nonfiction. Some of our journalism grads are household names like Stephanie Nolan, Globe and Mail correspondent for South Asia, and Captain Trevor Green, so savagely attacked while serving with Canada's armed forces in Afghanistan. Journalists have to explain the unfolding world to the rest of us. King's journalists do this better because they have taken a really deep dive into the ever-flowing stream of our Western cultural tradition. In our modern world, tradition can be too easily passed off as a fixation with an irrelevant bygone age. But the opposite is true. As G.K. Chesterton said, tradition does not mean that the living are dead, but that the dead are still alive. I must say a word about our sister university, Dalhousie. While my 2 children and 4 of my nieces came to King's, I'm a proud Dal grad. But it's more than that. We at King's benefit more than we can say by our close ties with one of Canada's great full-service universities, ties both intellectual and personal. Quite simply, King's could not exist without Dalhousie. Thank you, President Travis. In the other direction, I like to think that Dal benefits enormously as well, for it welcomes into its upper year classes a steady stream of top students from King's with professors to match. What is the result of our unique King's approach to learning? Our university was both the home to the father of Canadian letters, Sir Charles G.D. Roberts, and the birthplace of ice hockey, happily bringing together both sides of college life. For today's crop of young scholars, King's will be their lifelong social and intellectual home, and a warm and welcoming home it is. We have a student retention rate of 85%, and the same proportion feels strongly attached to King's after they graduate. And these figures are at the top end for Canadian universities, and they bode well for our future. For a university is indeed a beloved community of memory and hope, to quote the late Robert Krauss, one of King's most cherished professors of the modern era. Years later, our students may not remember what classes they took, or even much of what they learned, but that doesn't matter. For as B.F. Skinner, the famous Harvard psychologist, said, education is what is left over after everything that has been learned has been forgotten. Well, you've heard Dr. Cooper's diagnosis of King's. What's my prognosis? King's has been many things in the past: a law school, a mining school, a divinity school. But they're long behind us. For the future, wonderful new intellectual opportunities are open to us. For example, with the rise of China and India, should we think about an upper year combined honors program in partnership with Dalhousie to compare and contrast Western and Eastern culture, civilization, and literature? This is but one notion, purely my own, not in any way endorsed by the college, but to seize, there's my exculpatory phrase, all of the professors are going to say, what? Get rid of them right away. Anyway, but you know, to seize these and other opportunities, we need to keep our eyes high, and we must dare to know. Sapere aude. So much for King's. Where to from here for me? Well, I'm with Harold Macmillan. Asked at age 85 how long he would stay on as Chancellor of Oxford, he replied, I will gladly step down in favor of an older man. Or woman, I would add. Just kidding. After my 2-year sentence, I'm out of here. Even though I have come to like my jail and love my jailers. But fair warning, when I'm gone, I fully expect to be made a Halifax street. Like so many other King's people who came before, Ingalls, Uniacke, Connaught, Maynard, Roby, Binney, and Blowers, and no doubt many others too obscure to mention. Well, even Thersites stopped talking eventually after Odysseus whacked him on the back with his staff. And so shall I, and you won't need a stick. Thank you all so much, once again, for the honor and privilege of being president, even for an interim period, of this truly great little gem of a university. Thank you.
As you will see from the program, the college has always been completely cognizant of the debt it owes to Dr. and President Cooper, and therefore it's a tremendous privilege to be able to announce that the choir will now sing a piece that was commissioned by President William Barker to honor Dr. Cooper and composed by our Director of Music, Paul Halley. The Chancellor will address convocation.
Mr. President, esteemed colleagues, honored friends and guests, welcome. Conceived as a somewhat domestic event, in this our most communal venue, the installation of our 24th President and Vice Chancellor quickly outgrew its conception in complexity. This is not surprising, considering the many facets of the man we are gathered here to honor and to install. A man who, incidentally, I've had the good fortune to know and admire for, dare I say it, almost 45 years. And most importantly, at least for me, to count as a close and dear friend. Public service has been a constant theme in George Cooper's life. And as you know, and as you've heard today, he's dedicated a great deal of time and talent to his native city, to this region, and indeed to his country. Thank you, George, for that, and thank you for a most inspiring and thoughtful installation address. It was marked, not surprisingly, with your usual eloquence, erudition, and above all, good humor. Now, George Cooper is anything but a new personality on campus. He's already given this university many years of selfless devotion. As you heard earlier, he served for 2 years as chair of the Board of Governors and held leadership roles. I can speak with some personal knowledge of this, leadership roles in the last 2 major fundraising campaigns, which essentially built our library and the newest of our academic buildings. He's the father of 2 alumni, and he graduated from King's the easy way in 2008 with an honorary doctorate. His ties to King's could not be stronger. All the elements of our King's community are present today at this important collegial moment in the life of the college. And should anyone doubt the vitality of our community, just look around us. We're grateful for our plentiful friendships, and here I pause with your indulgence to single out, as others have done, our friend Dr. Tom Travis, who has been a stalwart friend of King's through many presidencies, 4 if I'm not mistaken. And we give special thanks for this to Dr. Tom Travis and for our long, fruitful, and mutually beneficial association with Dalhousie. We're grateful too for the courage and keenness of our students. In recent months, our journalism students have traveled to Toronto. Don't have to be too courageous to go to Toronto. But they've also gone to Paris and to Kiev for award ceremonies and to participate in workshops and networking activities. Our journalism programs are becoming internationally known for their excellence and cutting-edge innovations. And our first-year students, who are helping us to celebrate 40 years of our renowned foundation year program, have just finished picking up, I'm told, their weighty bundles of required readings. And I noticed they were all invited to this ceremony today, provided, of course, they were not required to be in class. So, Dr. Cooper, I think the turnout of students, while it doesn't reflect well on perhaps self-discipline, reflects well on the esteem with which they hold you. We're lucky to have a president who understands the nature and value of what we do at King's, creating a space where students of the humanities and journalism can discover who they are. This autumn, our lively academic community has a lineup of visiting speakers that will make a much larger institution very proud indeed. Just next week, we welcome writer and editor Douglas Gibson as he delivers the Fleming Lecture. On October 26th, Anne Harrington, chair of the Harvard History of Science Department, will speak about the mind in medicine and the placebo effect. And just 4 days later, visiting scholar Dr. Evelyn Fox Keller, professor emerita of the history and philosophy of science at MIT, will deliver a lecture on paradigm shifts and revolution in contemporary biology. And last but not least, on November 6th, at the invitation of the students, philosopher and academic Dr. Charles Taylor of McGill University will deliver the Alex Fountain Memorial Lecture and pose the question, is democracy in danger? And I might add here that that's the selection made by the students Dr. Taylor asked which of 3 subjects students would like him to address, and that's the one they selected. So that's just a snapshot of our activities in the coming weeks. And King's is a place where students, visiting academics, faculty and staff, and yes, even presidents, George, come to learn and dare to know. Sapere aude, dare to know. The original use of this phrase appears to have been in Horace's first book of epistles. It forms the moral to a story in which a naive person waits for a stream to stop before crossing. Well begun, half done, says Horace. Dare to be wise, make a beginning. Immanuel Kant then takes up this phrase in his essay, What is Enlightenment? Written in 1784, a date closely aligned with the period of King's inception, this essay advocates that students and citizens be given the freedom to use their intellect to question received authorities and the conduct of the public institutions that govern our lives. He urges his readers to follow a program of intellectual self-liberation through the use of reason. Whether it be reason, wisdom, or divine providence, we've chosen George Cooper to lead the University of King's College into our 225th year. He's honored us by taking on the role, and we've honored him by entrusting this important moment in our history to this loyal and devoted friend of King's. Bonne chance, mon ami.
Before we dissolve convocation, I call upon the Bishop of Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island to send us properly on our way. Please stand.
God of faithfulness, everlasting, God ever new, to the long-time task of president comes a new leader, new skills, new possibilities. You know that we are in need of new energy and renewed hope. At the same time, we wonder, what change will he bring? What will he affect by his words and actions? We wonder how each of us may be part of that. You know, O God, that we need your love and truth to guide our hearts and our minds. We need your power to kindle and sustain our passion. We need your wisdom to see the ever-present possibility for change and conversion, growth and transformation. Give us eyes to see the wonders in our midst. Give us courage and hope to build a new future. God of all our tomorrows, we ask you to bless our new president and to bless us as we embark together on the next chapter of the King's University story. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay standing for the Royal Anthem.